We're headed on our way out the door. Dad's excited. Dog's got energy. Chaos, chaos. Perfect before the road trip. I got my calcs. Let's go. Looking at the onboard navigation screen is maybe the easiest way to prepare for the trip and what your expected range is. Otherwise, use an app like PlugShare, which I have here. You can go ahead and filter how fast the charging stations you want to stop at are, and then you'll go ahead and filter out all the slow ones or level 2 chargers. And now let's look at what that map in the Atlantic region looks like. I filtered for charging stations above 100 kilowatt hours, and you can see that we have only one on PI. There's a lot of them in Moncton for the size of that population, and as you can see, as we head over down to Halifax, there's a big area over the Quebec Pass that just has no chargers. As you start to approach Halifax, you have a mix of charging speeds. Some of those speeds are limited by the charger, not the car, and some of them are just not as advertised. However, looking at that big stop, this 180 kilowatt charger looks like a great one for my future road trips that I'll talk about. Now let's go over to Moncton, where we'll actually go for this trip. I am really impressed by the charging infrastructure for fast chargers above 50 kilowatts. And maybe that's just because of the lack of infrastructure on PI. While that fast charger that's shown here downtown is about 10 minutes drive from our hotel, RWD Moncton also has a level 2 charger on the premises. Our route was about 170 kilometers and we expected to take about 2 hours on that trip. Level 2 chargers come in a range of speeds, but the hotel had pretty much the slowest level 2 charger that we could use. The car charged to 100%, range showed about 333 kilometers. My factor of safety is 70%. I'm only going to guesstimate 233 kilometers being the max range with my battery. That being said, this trip is expected to use about 73%, which means I should get there with a 27%. Converting to the energy used, mind your decimal point, expecting about 50 kilowatts of energy. You can go ahead and use my online calculator here to jot in those numbers. 170 kilometers. The cost of electricity that I'm using at the hotel turned out to be 21 cents. The cost of fuel is ranging around 163 per 100 kilometers, and plugging in the efficiency of 33 and hybrid car or car efficiency of 5 to 7 liters per 100, we can look at these costs here for comparison. Chucked everything into the front of the car. We were in the car, dogs in the very back. Routes were double checked using the inbuilt navigation as well as Google Nav. I'll mention that depending which nav app you use, you could see a different range. So here we are, we're ready to go. But then we're pulled over to the side of the road, but it's only because the dog puked. Once we cleaned up the puke, we got back on our way, and pretty much it was really good that our destination was within the range of the battery. All we had to do was get there and we'd be fine. Driving in the night, gotta say, we love the ride on the highway. While I did initially find it bouncy in the city, the ride on the highway has always been phenomenal, as you'd find with a bunch of cars with fairly stiff suspension. Other than that, I wouldn't say we did anything particularly special. I did watch my speed, but you're supposed to do that in a gas car anyways. Rolling into Moncton, there's pretty much everything on Main Street, so if I did have to go anywhere, find my DC fast chargers, I'd be able to do so. Once we'd arrived, it was pretty much time to find the charger. I used the Flow app, which is connected to the eCharger network, and the handshake was pretty much flawless, really quick. You're seeing it here in real time, to be honest. And now it's telling me to plug the car in, and that's what I did. The odd part is that this AC slow charger is actually slower than the charger I have at home. It only tops out at about 5 point something kilowatts for charging speed. When I'm charging at home, I get 6.2 or thereabouts for that same 7.2 kilowatts. So there we are. We plugged in 26%, 56 kilometers of range remaining. We used 26 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. The estimate here is 43 kilowatt hours, but I did do a trip before I left Charlottetown. This charger is visible on the public charging network part of the Ford app. but it cannot be activated from the app. You must use the charger. What else did I learn? My guesstimate before we went with all my calculations would have been $13.50 or thereabouts. I actually ended up using $14.50 worth of power via charging at the hotel. That charge session not only did the trip, but also the short trip I did in Charlottetown before. We drove back to Charlottetown. Everything went smoothly. We can get there on one charge, which meant no DC fast charging needed at all for this trip to Moncton, although I would have used them if I had to bail out or need more power or something unexpected had happened. Really and truly, I got back home, kept driving the car. I had more errands to run. I wasn't looking for a charger at all. The weather was turning. The entire drive back was -7 or -8 degrees Celsius. So again, heat on in the car, car full of the family with the dogs. And we still got phenomenal efficiency of less than 30 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. I plugged in when I had 12%, and then let's talk about what the state of charging is in Moncton. What I want to express is that the 100 kilowatt chargers cost you $25 per hour, and that is essentially what you're getting is 4 kilowatt hours per dollar. Please forgive my units in that last column. It's actually quite comparable to the level 2 charger at the hotel, which is 4.6 kilowatt hours per dollar. What's disappointing is that the 50 kilowatt fast chargers will only deliver 3.3 kilowatt hours per dollar, and the chargers on PEI are abysmally worse. So we got a lot of work to do to buff up this charging network for non-EV enthusiasts, just to make it easy. People want to get in and drive. So this can be done, but people don't want to think about it too much. I'll spend more time on another video getting into the nitty-gritty of this charging network and what I like about it and what you should look out for if you want to drive around the Atlantic provinces in an EV. So stay tuned, join me next time. I'll be charged, the car will be charged. We'll connect with you later.